building for anyway? I measure my life in decades. 4 decades ago, I took one too many dives in my buddy's backyard pool and broke my neck. Paralyzed from chest down, learning how to use a wheelchair, I was released from rehab. But moving back to my parents' house wasn't possible. It'd been a fine home when I was a strong and strapping 16-year-old. 10 months later, wasn't a home built for me. So my parents had to build a new house. 3 decades ago, my new wife and I bought a little house that was obviously not designed for wheelchair access. We had to do some major renovations just so I could get in the front door. You can imagine the cost in both self-esteem and money. 2 decades ago, we decided to build our own house. All the current design ideas were with that strong and healthy 18 to 45-year-old male in mind. Design ideas for the only demographic that actually doesn't need any special consideration. So we decided to design our own house using a fairly new idea called universal design. A decade ago, I broke both my legs in a car accident. And as my 90-year-old mother-in-law so nicely put it, "Nah, what does it matter? He's not using them anyway." But it did matter. I lost a lot of strength and flexibility. I had to install an overhead lift in my bedroom, changing my way of doing things. Recently, I blew my shoulder out. Not an uncommon issue for people who push a wheelchair for 40 years. I had to transition to a power wheelchair, but didn't have to make any changes to my house because it had been built with the future in mind. But using a power wheelchair changed the way I interact with others. Yeah, I have more mobility. I'm faster down the streets. I can use transit independently. But nobody else had thought to build a house that I could use and access with a power wheelchair. My friends are getting older, and obviously they are not going to haul this thing up the stairs, so I don't visit them anymore. I don't go to parties. I don't go to family dinners. Can't even drop by my buddies for a drink. When we do get together, it's at my house because it was built for everyone. I can't change the fact that I use a wheelchair, but we can change the way we build. Do we build for everyone? Everywhere? All the time? You're probably thinking, what's this got to do with me? This guy may have life-changing events every 10 years, but really? What are the chances? Well, pretty good. You slip on the ice and turn your ankle. Now you're trying to negotiate stairs using crutches. Your dream home has become an obstacle course. What you'd never given a thought to is now a major challenge. Build a new house? Not likely. Life-changing events are not always negative. You're a young mom with a newborn. You drag that stroller up your front steps. You fight with that round doorknob with your hands full, and great, trip over that threshold. Or picture Christmas dinner. Grandpa with his arthritic hands pushing a walker, trying to navigate that same situation. With each life change of your own or someone close, we have to think of how our new reality may exclude us from full participation in our community. We're forced to change our way of thinking. But what if, instead of each individually, often in times of crisis or trauma, what if we as a society proactively design things with everyone in mind? Universal design. Let's make tools and utensils that can be used by everyone. Let's shift our thinking about how we build houses and public spaces, parks or restaurants, carnival rides or water slides. You get the picture. Designed for everyone, everywhere, all the time. Universal design is not a new idea. It's the method to achieve access for everyone, everywhere, all the time. The 7 principles of universal design, a concept developed in the late 1970s by Ron Mace and others, says that every place, everything can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by all people, regardless of age, size, ability, or disability. Universal design is critical in the creation and sustaining of inclusive communities. 4 decades ago, we were just trying to remove barriers. Curb ramps, for example, were designed to remove a barrier for people using wheelchairs, so they don't end up being splayed out in the middle of traffic when all they're trying to do is get off the sidewalk at some driveway. Unfortunately, an unintended side effect of curb ramps was the removing of guidance systems for people who use white canes or assisted animals. Universal design adds the guidance system. Those groove lines in the curb cut, they're important. Universal design makes life easier for everyone. People pushing strollers, people using a wheelchair or a walker, people using a white cane, people like you. The unintended side effect of building accessible spaces is the stigmatizing effect of building for one certain group. When I was building my house, I was cautioned, don't make it too handicapped looking. I'm thinking, what's that mean anyway? House on wheels or house on crutches? Think of the resale. You're not the only one who's going to be living in that house. But that's just how we're building houses even to today. They're not thinking of what your life will be like 3 to 4 decades from now, when you can't get up the stairs, you can't step into the tub, can't even stand at the counter to make dinner. And those 2 steps at the front door may be impossible. Do you want that ugly, too steep add-on ramp? Or would you rather have a beautiful, level, landscaped approach right to the front door that you had the foresight to include when you were building? What's the solution to avoiding that handicapped-looking house and having the house you need in the future? Universal design, built for everyone. Do we build universal design? A little story. I went to visit a friend recently at his accessible home. He opened the front door with that round doorknob, and we managed to struggle over that 1-inch threshold. Thresholds, by the way, are a leftover design idea from over 100 years ago, where a 2x4 was shoved under the front door so that the straw flooring, thresh, couldn't get out of the house. My friend gets a call and says, I got to go out. Do you want to wait? I figure I'll wait. But he gets delayed, and I need to leave. I fight with that round doorknob, managed to get the door open, only get hung up on that 1-inch threshold. Now I'm trapped. All I wanted to do was leave. Universal design means there would be no threshold, and the doors would have levered handles. I would have been able to use that doorway safely and independently. We are making progress. Universal design is the best way to build. We have to think of when we're building for others, what are we doing? Do we think of others when we build? Or we're just trying to design for each other? So, when I finally left my buddy's house, right, I got out independently. We are making progress. Removing barriers makes life easier for everyone. And pretty soon, everyone wants the universal design. I think of roll-in showers. When we were building our house, it was really difficult to find information on products required for a level, wide-open entry for a shower. Now everyone wants one. It's easier for kids. It's easier for grandma. It's easier for you. And when you really need one, no renovations required. I think of public spaces like the Vancouver International Airport. Recently, someone complained they couldn't find the handicapped washroom. I'm thinking, there aren't any. All 148 washrooms are fully accessible. Most have no door entries. Hand dryers and paper towel dispensers are within reach. There's accessible toilet stalls. Everything usable by everyone. And whether you need it or not, it's accessible. We've made progress in the last 4 decades. What's the future look like if we all demand universal design? If we demand access for everyone, everywhere, all the time? You want to go out and eat? Just go. Universal design means that restaurants are accessible to all. No worry about washroom access or sitting at those high-top tables. You want to volunteer at a rec center? Just do it. No pre-planning required to get there. Transit is universally designed. There's seating and rest areas along the path if you get tired. The doors open as you approach. Does this have to be far in the future? No. Let's build on the success so far, because we're not there yet. We now know that the status quo thinking is just not enough. Let's not wait another 4 decades. Ask the question, who are we building for anyway? Support those building with everyone in mind. Look for universal design. Ask for universal design. With everyone involved, young and old, whatever the ability, anything is possible. And that means access for everyone, everywhere, all the time. Thank you.